All right, people. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dave, and this is Save America, Vote Tulsi Gabbard. In recent days, I've spent a lot of time uh, talking down other people who are challenging Tulsi Gabbard for the Democratic nomination. As appealing as that is, as a commentator and as just someone who would like to see Tulsi get elected, um, I think I'm going to try, and I don't know how effective this will be, but I think I'm going to try to be just more positive talking about Tulsi and her campaign. Basically, why Americans should vote for Tulsi Gabbard. Now, the reason I say this is because when we spend all of this time attacking other candidates or the media, which again is an easy target, and by the way, the media is controlling my channel. I have lost well over 30% of my income that literally just started coming in. Last month was the first month I actually earned some revenue from this channel, and now that revenue is dwindling. The channel is still growing, but much slower than it was growing before. So I don't know if it's because of those tactics that things are going in the other direction. I really thought the sky was kind of the limit when it came to Tulsi Gabbard and her campaign. So let's talk about why Americans should vote for Tulsi Gabbard. Very simple video, and maybe I should focus more on each individual issue that I'm going to bring up here. I'm on the website presidenttulsigabbard.org, and it is a very good sort of clearinghouse of information. Everything you would need to know about Tulsi Gabbard is here at this site. The site's creator actually reached out to me early on, and we've had a couple of conversations. I'm just literally too busy to get involved in the same way he's involved in promoting Tulsi Gabbard. So I'm doing my part here, and I will just rattle off some things. This is a video that maybe you can send to friends and family, co-workers, whoever. So the first meme on the page, which is great, is Tulsi 2020. Yeah, you'll notice the shirt. I got the shirt for sending in a donation, and it's a comfortable shirt. So if you want something that's comfortable and is a conversation starter, I'd go to Tulsi's website and order. That's tulsi2020.com. Okay, so here we go. Lead with love. End regime change wars. Okay, let's define what that is. That is when our country goes into another country, not really provoked by that country, but going in there to solve some kind of problem that we perceive to be there. That is, first of all, it's unconstitutional. Secondly, if you're going to go and do any sort of war, you need congressional authorization to do so. Typically, we don't. We don't get it. We've been running off the same war authorization that Congress did in the early stages of the Iraq War and the war in Afghanistan. So, ending regime change wars will save us trillions of dollars. And whether you believe in social programs or not, you cannot underestimate the power of a balanced budget. You cannot underestimate the fact that we aren't going around the world to stir up hornets' nests everywhere in the world, being the world's police, and then having, of course, to deal with rebuilding these countries once we destroy them. There's so much infrastructure here in the United States that needs repair. Raise the minimum wage. Well, that's an obvious one. College for all. Public, specifically public college for all. Now, if you're a Bernie fan, these two things are right up there. And Tulsi doesn't talk as much about these issues, but when she's asked about them, she can rattle off the reasoning. We keep going on this. Break up the big banks. This, really important, if you remember what happened during the Great Recession, excuse me, the banks essentially were bailed out rather than broken up. And people, Jimmy Dore likes to talk about this, people lost their houses. So Graham Elwood on his show, I believe, he's a comedian that works with Jimmy Dore, and he actually lost his house because of this stuff, because we bailed out banks and not the people who were underwater and couldn't pay. Reform Wall Street. Well, I think most people on the left and the right agree with that. It's only the rich oligarchs that don't want that. Rebuild infrastructure. Yeah. Like I said, if you're not doing regime change wars, you can rebuild infrastructure. Marriage equality. I think we're already there, but I think some of these laws that are in place need to be strengthened and supported by the federal government. Criminal justice reform. That's, of course, having to do with nonviolent offenders. Overturn Citizens United. Yes, you need to get money out of this, because that is why a voice like Tulsi's is rarely heard compared to like a Beto or a Biden. So just getting rid of the money aspect. Medical for all, it says here. Medicare for all, I know she is for. And I believe in that because we've already got Medicare. We just need to get everybody into the program. Stop arming terrorists. Tulsi Gabbard actually authored a bill. Yes, brilliant. Could the United States please stop arming terrorists? Now, your friends and your family, they're not going to believe this. They're going to think you're making it up. They're going to think that they haven't heard this on the news. I haven't heard on the news that we're arming terrorists. How do you know that we're arming terrorists? The fact that she introduced legislation for that, I think, speaks volumes to it. Secure elections. Tulsi has already introduced legislation to have a paper ballot, which is very important as a backup to the actual vote, that your electronic machine that can get hacked is casting in your name. Legalize marijuana, specifically end the United States federal prohibition against it. Okay? Prohibition against anything typically leads to people doing bad things in order to get what they want. So just, it's human nature. So marijuana has proven itself to be effective in some cases, or in most cases, for treating pain. And medical and recreational should be allowed. We've got cigarettes, we've got alcohol. Off fossil fuels. Again, Tulsi Gabbard leading the way. She has legislation already out there. And it's an important measure. She believes that the world needs to combat climate change and not just the United States, because it's all for show if it's just us. That's why ending regime change wars will actually help us get off fossil fuels. Makes sense. Standing Rock, okay, she stood with those at Standing Rock. If you're not familiar with that, you can look into it. It's a whole video and story in and of itself. Free speech. Snowden, Edward Snowden, and Julian Assange. If we lose the ability to have communications and conversations that are uncomfortable, we risk not being able to communicate at all on anything that's important. You've got a media right now that is herding everybody into this center-left, center-right paradigm. If you stay within those boundaries, they'll monetize your videos. You'll be respected. You'll get coverage and so forth. If you go outside those boundaries right now, you can get censored. You can get banned. So believing in free speech is extraordinarily important. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. And that's why Tulsi has garnered support from really across the political spectrum. All right. She doesn't accept donations from corporations or political action committees, typically known as PACs, which, again, you need to overturn Citizens United so ideas can be out there in the public square. And also this would help third parties because, quite honestly, the two-party system is broken, and it depends on Citizens United to keep out any other populist threat to their existence. So there you go. Tulsi Gabbard, she is the best candidate running for president. She would make an awesome commander-in-chief. Your children, especially daughters, if you have a young daughter or teenage daughter, whatever, imagine having President Tulsi Gabbard giving speeches from the Oval Office, calming the country in times when things are looking bleak. Currently now we have a guy in the Oval Office who doesn't empathize with anyone, who is really unfeeling, uncaring, and Tulsi Gabbard would be a 360 or a 180 from that. But she'd also bring a firm resolve to the job of Commander-in-Chief. So again, tell your friends, tell your neighbors about Tulsi Gabbard. We're going to try to keep it positive, and we might break down each issue that she stands for here. Maybe read some articles about them. For now, I am done. I appreciate the support. I will see you soon.